Hello, welcome to another Rich James Leicester Square Theatre podcast. My guest this week is Rick Edwards. It's going to be great. Do remember that you can still get 8 free beers for £2.95 package and posting by going to beer52.com/RHLSTP. You can then cancel. You can cancel by email or direct message on Twitter if you're having trouble getting through to them on phone. Or you can carry on getting 8 beers for £24 a month. It's nice beer if you like drinking beer. I've stopped drinking beer because I'm on a diet. You must have noticed I'm looking pretty skinny. Hey, look, there's also lots of gigs coming up. A lot of RHLSTPs coming up and some very exciting guests too, starting to be announced. Look, on the 18th to the 20th of January, the Bristol Slapstick Festival's going on. I'm not doing podcasts there exactly, but I am interviewing the goodies, Tim Vine, and a couple of the guys behind the In-Betweeners. On the 19th of January, the festival runs from the 18th to the 20th of January. Go to richhang.com/gigs for details. Goodies is nearly sold out, so be quick. On the 1st of February, I'm coming to Wolverhampton to do a RHLSTP, but at the Bilston Town Hall. Again, got a few ideas for guests, but no one's confirmed yet. It's selling pretty well, but it's not sold out, and a lot of them have sold out straight away, but it's Wolverhampton. What are you expecting? 4th of February, we start with a brand new series of Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast at the Leicester Square Theatre. Go to richardherring.com or to leicestersquaretheatre.com to get tickets. 4th of February, I can tell you, we have Emily Attack on from off of I'm a Celebrity, Who's a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I think it's called that. And on the 11th of February, very exciting, we have actor David Morrissey and Rob Brydon. So come on, that might even be sold out by the time you see this. But get there and buy tickets. Even without guests, they're selling pretty well. They go on till the 1st of April. Also got Matt Ford confirmed for the 4th of March, I think. I'm also in Bath on the 15th of February at the Comedia. Lots of tickets there. But also, hey, they do brilliant dinner there. Genuinely, I get one for free. And it's awesome. So why not book a dinner ticket and have dinner before the show? Come on down, Bath. That'll be fun. So Bristol, Bath, Wolverhampton, Brighton and Birmingham. I'm not only doing towns beginning with B, have sold out, but we might be adding an extra show early at Brighton with a different guest. So you can come to both, or you can come to that one if you've missed out on the first one. Anyway, let's sit back, relax. richardherring.com/gigs, beer52.com/RHLSTP, and gofasterstripe.com for all your book and DVD and download needs. My DVD and my new show's still on there, and the book's still there. Okay, it's 2 minutes 50. That's when the show starts. I can't tell you the timings for when Rick Edwards comes on. You'll have to work that out for yourself. You can just slide the thing along. It's obvious. You can don't be patronise other people by putting the time on. We can work it out. If you don't like this bit, you're an idiot. Sorry, there's no celebrity in this bit. Sorry, it's a bit dark. I'm sitting in my snug, in the gloom, the crepuscular light. I've made it longer. Just made it longer. Do come and see us live. There's lots of exciting stuff coming up in 2019. This is the year RHLSTP becomes quite good. You've waited long enough. Hope you enjoy it. Do come and see us live. Bye. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leicester Square Theatre. Please welcome a man who is back on the telly. He's been on the telly. It's Richard Herring. Man, you're much better than last week's audience. You are. You literally are. Hello, welcome to Richard Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast. I was hanging around with Spanky McFarland the other day. Yes, that's right, the characters from the 1920s Our Gang that then became the Little Rascals. That's right. I'm surprised that reference didn't get more. He calls it RHLSTP, so I don't know if that's going to catch on. Yeah, I've just, as we're recording this on the 12th of November, I've just been on TV. Did anyone see me on TV this evening? Call yourself Richard Herring fan. I've been on House of Games. It's a very exciting House of Games. I'm on all this week. Up against Rachel Riley, that newsreader lady. She's Katie Durham. She's very clever. And one of the JB from JLS or something, isn't he? He's not clever. He was no
He's not going to win. I'm going to let you know that he's not going to win. The people at home know who won. People here, all they know is that I came third on episode 1. But that's my tactic. slowly catching monkey. So it's very exciting to be back on the telly. I'm enjoying that, and I won't be talking about stone clearing anymore on this podcast because I now have a dedicated stone clearing podcast called Stone Clearing with Richard Herring. So do go and check that out. By the time this comes out at home, there should be at least 10 episodes up. By the time I've already recorded 4. I'll be recording 4 podcasts today. 3 if you're listening at home, because I've done a stone clearing one, I've done a scummy mummies one, and I've done this one here, and I'm not doing another one later. I don't know why I said 4. So doesn't make sense. So I'm all talked out, but I'm overexcited, and I've clearly gone mentally ill. So it's fine. Don't worry about that. And I've been mainly looking after the kids this week. I've got this week I'm recording. The week coming up, I'm recording my second series of Relativity, which will be out on Radio 4 in January, I think. So I've had to make up some time being a father. I'm not asking for plaudits. It's my fucking job. But I've got a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old, and I don't really like the 1-year-old. It's really annoying. I mean, it's just really difficult to look after. He's worked out how to get out of things, so you put him in a high chair and you turn your back, and then he suddenly is draped over, about to fall on his head. I mean, he's an idiot. He's going to die. I hope he is dead by the time this goes out. And save us on. Well, I don't now. I've put a bit of effort into him. If he was going to die, he should have died at the beginning. And then now I've invested 13 months in him. I'm going to keep him fucking live now. Otherwise, it's a waste of time. But I was thinking, people say, I love my children. I don't have a favourite child. I love my... It's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. Everyone knows. It's like you've got brothers and sisters. You've got a favourite brother or sister if you've got 2. You know that. You don't like one of them as much as the other because they're human beings. Your parents, you prefer one of your parents to the other. You know that's true. Don't fall for this bullshit that... I love my daughter loads. I think my son's a dick. So it's... She's definitely my favourite and always will be. And I hope you're listening to this, Ernie. In the future. I love them both equally. No, you don't. He might, he's got a chance to build up over the years if he improves a bit. Shits himself all the time. It's ridiculous. So Phoebe never did that. I think we'll crack on. That was an improvised bit of stand-up. Oh, I hope my wife listens to this podcast. She's going to love it. So, my guest tonight is probably best known. I mean, it's difficult to choose between his best-known roles. You know him from Doctor Who Live, The After Party. And you'll also know him from Hollyoaks, in which he played himself, which, given those are the only 2 things he's done, that is... must have been confusing for the viewers. Will you please welcome Rick Edwards, ladies and gentlemen? It's Rick Edwards. Welcome, thank you. Come on in. Come on in, sit down.
Yes, not an extensive CV, but a strong one. A strong one.
Very good. You've done many other things, but those are the 2 that stuck out for me.
They leap off the page, don't they? They really do.
Doctor Who Live, I don't remember, was there a live episode of Doctor Who?
No, it was for the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
And I had a memory of liking Doctor Who when I was a child, and so when they said, "Do you want to do that?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then I had to watch the current episodes. That's good. But I did the show anyway, and the highlight of it was there was a live... It was me and Zoe Ball, and there was a live link-up with LA and 2 people from One Direction.
Right.
And the delay was about 35 seconds. And they could just hear themselves back, and it was genuinely amazing car crash telly.
Good.
And I wasn't directly involved. It was Zoe handling it, so it was perfect for me.
Good. And it's the after party, there was a party... And then you were the after party. You were talking about the party when the party had finished. Was just people clearing up.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, I don't
bottles
really
with
remember
fags
the party bit actually.
Yeah.
So I think I wasn't invited to that.
Okay.
It just
Come to
sort
the
of,
after party,
yeah, it's
Rick.
very much the aftermath. Yeah.
And I've always wanted to be on Hollyoaks.
It could happen for you
Yeah.
still. It really
I
could.
be one of the granddads now. I could come and run the pub. I wanted to be like, I think I'm too old now. I think it'd be disgusting. But when I was 40, I wanted to be like an older man who came to Hollyoaks and just slept with all the women in it. Which I think would be fine. When you was 40, that wouldn't be creepy, right? Sleep. All the ones over 16, I'm not sick, 15 maximum. But the actresses would be over.
I think
the character's pervy, not me.
Yeah. I think keep the dream alive. Yeah. I think you could still do it.
I had that dream, and Dan Tetzel, who I've done a lot of podcasts with, then got on Hollyoaks and basically got that role.
Did he do that?
Well,
how old was he?
He was.
And how old were they?
He dated Is it Carmel? Was the one he done? I don't know. The blonde one he dated, and I think he got off with another one. They have to, haven't they? It's all.
Oh, that's
that's. It's like being on Strictly Come Dancing. You have to have sex with the dancer.
Yes.
You have to.
You do.
And the dancers have to have sex with you. It's a kind of horrific.
Yeah.
Sort of slavery.
Well, at least they don't televise that.
Yeah.
That really would be,
I'd like to see Sean Walsh up to his plums.
I just actually saw a Sean Walsh poster backstage.
Did you? Yeah.
A tour called Sean to be Wild.
Yeah.
And I amazingly found myself liking him even less. I was surprised. I thought I'd reached rock bottom. No, still a bit of space.
What did you do? What was you'll be playing yourself on Hollyoaks?
Yeah, I played myself. I think I was trying to buy a Christmas tree, but then hilariously...
In Chester?
Yeah.
You went to Chester? You live near Chester?
No. I was up there. Anyway.
Looking for a Christmas tree.
I was just... but I think, actually, I was sort of playing myself, but then I wonder if I was... Actually, yeah, if you really start to scrutinise it, it doesn't make sense. But I was there, and I was buying a Christmas tree, and then a Christmas tree, I think, wouldn't fit through the door.
Okay.
So there's a bit of, I was sort of trying to channel Laurel and Hardy, but I don't know if that necessarily landed.
You have a reputation of being a man who'll travel a long distance for a Christmas tree bargain. That is what, if anything...
absolutely right,
anything is said about you.
I think I got the Christmas tree free. That's the sort of the point, isn't it?
Oh, I see, because, you're a celebrity, so you can.
Yeah,
so I'm drinking...
Travel to Chester, get a...
We've got some new craft beers in. This one's called Daft Monk. That's why I went for that. That's Daft Monk. That looks like fun. Would you like a craft beer? There's different...
Is it rude to say no?
It isn't. You're absolutely fine to say no.
Oh, hang on a minute. There's one called Ghanaian Spiced Porter. Crack me open that, please.
That?
Yeah.
It really is called that.
It is, yeah. No, I wasn't...
I thought this one was called Mrs. McCluskey. It's just the writing. It's called Club Mexicana. It's very different than Mrs.
Yeah.
But it made me think there is a market for grain chill.
Oh, yeah. Crack me open a Zamo. Oh, it's got a big kick to it, hasn't it? Still on the docks.
So cheers, beer52.com/RHLSTB. If you want to get some free beers.
I also don't want to talk about myself too much. Also do a podcast, no big deal. Everyone's got a podcast, famously. And we occasionally also plug these beers. But less convincingly than you do it. I have to say.
Well, I find I find the sponsorship thing weird, but I'm happy to get drunk. What I found is that drinking these beers, they're quite strong, aren't they? What I found is it severely impedes the podcast and makes it terrible. It makes the podcast absolutely terrible.
I mean, I already feel severely impeded just at one sip of the Ghanaian Spice.
I had maybe a quarter of a bottle in the first one last week. I only did one in the one last week, and I'm good at covering up. That's the thing. No one knows that.
Because with the amount of... Because I guess you've got it for the whole evening, the Leicester Square Theatre, so you could probably fit more in, couldn't you?
Could do.
Never thought about it, though.
Be more economical.
Yeah, it would.
I couldn't say economical then, because I'd had one sip of Daft
Absolutely lashed.
So it's a terrible idea. And they've only paid enough to sort of pay for about a third of the filming. I'm not even making any money out of it, but I'm getting some free beer, and I'm going to make the most of that, Rick.
I'm going to be... I think I'm mainly on the water now.
Fair enough.
Yeah, one sip of the Ghanaian Spiced, and I'm done.
It is really good. That is the best one I've had. A lot of them are really horrible.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, you did go. Let me try a little bit of this.
I think if you like a porter, then maybe that's okay, but...
yeah, that's a weird choice.
Yeah.
No offence to Ghana. And their many spices.
I'm not sure they were involved in this.
So let's talk about your podcast. I was listening to it today.
Yes.
It's a highbrow podcast. I would say.
Oh, well, that's very. It's all relative, Richard.
It is.
Yeah, it's called. I mean, I'm sure you know this. It's called Science-ish, and we look at sort of big science questions through the prism of popular culture. Normally films. So tomorrow we're recording a couple. And we're very open about the fact that we record a couple on the same day, and I think it's very weird when people aren't. And the one that I'm going to be leading on is Fight Club, and we're going to be talking about pain, and specifically how much pain is too much pain, and the kind of science of pain. And so that's an example of the kind of thing we do.
Well, I was listening to one about Rick and Morty, which was about alternate universes,
Yes,
which I'm interested in. It's an interesting subject. Yes. But that's a kind of quite mind-blowing subject. You've got like a proper scientist, Dr. Michael Brooks.
Dr.
Physicist.
Michael Brooks, yes, he is absolutely a proper scientist, science writer, PhD in quantum physics. He kind of steers the ship.
Yeah.
And then I occasionally chip in with banal questions.
But you know your stuff as well.
I do. I mean, I know a bit of stuff because I did do a science degree and I do like science, but I'm not a science expert.
I mean, how did you do a science degree? Because you look like a sort of model or something. And like, if you look at the front row of this audience, these guys have... I mean, that guy's done a science degree. He's a nuclear physicist. That's what I imagine someone who is interested in science looks like.
Well,
I mean, did you do an experiment where you put yourself into some kind of mannequin or something that came to life?
Have you ever seen the start of Captain America, the film? No, well, it was an odd experience because I actually started off doing maths, and I did maths at a university where people who really like maths do maths, and the people, I was worried when I went to do it that the people were going to be quite odd, and I hadn't prepared myself really for how odd they were, to the extent that I basically gave up because I didn't have any friends, because I didn't know how to, and they looked at me like I was scum. Yeah. Which in a way I was. Yeah. So
I'm on their side, I have to say.
Yeah. I had an earring. Like they just, they weren't into that.
No.
And rightly so. And you had to work in groups, and they wouldn't let me into their group. So I couldn't do any of my work. It's actually heartbreaking. I genuinely find it sad.
I was going to ask you, because you are a very good-looking man, and I know how that can be. You know, I know how...
Yeah. Well, you must have friends who are...
You get judged and people... But is it... Do you think it's... I mean, obviously in TV it's a positive thing in that it probably people want to see attractive people on TV, but do you think it... are there any negative sides to it, do you think? I mean... Apart from not being able to hang around with people who like maths.
Apart from not being able to complete my maths degree. No, I don't think so. I think it'd be quite an odd thing to bemoan.
Well, do you think people people judge you unfairly and think you aren't going to be, doing a science podcast?
But I think that's okay. It doesn't really... it's nice to surprise people, isn't it?
It is nice to surprise. I've been very surprised.
Thank you. For example, I mean, I was on House of Games. I won.
Yeah.
No pressure, Richard.
We don't know what happens in the next 4 days, do we?
And I wasn't up against JB.
I was up against Rachel Riley, who also did maths.
Yes.
She must have been in a lot of trouble if what you say is true. So, what do you think about Rick and Morty? Do you want to talk about Rick and Morty a bit? I enjoy Rick and Morty an awful lot.
I think Rick and Morty is one of my favourite shows. Do people familiar with Rick and Morty? Feels like that kind of crowd.
They are.
It's. I mean, it's wonderful, and also. The science in it is really quite sort of sophisticated. I mean, they're a little bit fast and loose with it, but some very spicy ideas in there, and I love it. And I kind of, I think I'd sort of slightly want to be that Rick.
Yes.
Because he's amazing, has an amazing life, gets to basically do whatever he likes.
Well, you could be, if the universe is infinite, then you are.
There is one version of me doing that, and that's heartening in a way.
See, I think about alternate universes that there won't be another version of you, because there's enough infinity in the history of the planet Earth that only one of you could still spring up, I think. You know what I mean?
think
Because
that's a misunderstanding.
no, I don't think it is a misunderstanding. Because every single
well, it is.
It is.
Okay.
Why should? Because like if every single thing is possible,
Yeah.
then there's you know the planet, the human
You just
being.
think too many. There's too
Human
much.
beings won't turn up most of the infinity planets.
Most.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not quite.
And so when they do,
Yeah.
you know, the 600 million sperm that were in the race to create Rick Edwards.
What a
that
race.
Your one will only get through.
Commission that.
Every now
BBC
and again.
3.
So and
A
that,
retrospective.
all the way back. I think there'll be
Talking heads were the ones that didn't make it.
I think there's enough. I think there's enough.
They're all dead, actually. It's quite sad.
I think enough. I think there's enough infinity for all the infinities to be different.
There isn't.
There is.
So I mean, it depends really. If you look at, so there's various ways that you can arrive at a kind of multiverse situation, and one of them is via quantum theory, and you end up with something called infinite Hilbert space, which isn't really a physical space, but it's somewhere that everything that can happen does happen, and every permutation. And there's no because it's infinite, there is no limit to its size. Therefore, there will be other. I mean, effectively, there will be an infinite number of.
What if
you's.
what if it gets full?
Yeah. Well, there's actually. I mean, I don't know if you want to do this necessarily, but there's
want to.
a thing called the Hilbert's Hotel.
Yeah.
Which is a thing about the sizes of infinities,
Yeah.
and it's a nice little mathematical proof that if you have your infinitely sized hotel with infinite number of hotel rooms, and then it's full, and then another guest arrives. You can actually show quite easily that there's not really a problem and you can accommodate them. So it's sort of the point of infinity.
Yeah, but I can do an infinite number of things now, like just pointing my finger in different places.
Yeah, and in infinite Hilbert space, all of those possibilities are playing out.
Not this
And
one.
this is no, because it's playing out here.
What about if?
I mean, most of the other herrings have probably got a bit more respect for themselves, of course, and aren't doing that. But
What about just like impossible things? So there are things that are impossible that can't happen.
yes,
So I can suddenly go from here, someone bursts in and go, Rich, you're the Prime Minister now. That's not going to happen. But
that could happen.
No, it can't happen.
Why not?
Because that wouldn't possibly happen in this universe, or so it couldn't possibly happen just suddenly now. There could be a chain of events that led to me being Prime Minister, but they couldn't just come in. Like, King Henry VIII couldn't come in here now and go, I've come back to life.
Oh, no, that is true. No, he can't.
So there's loads of things that couldn't happen. So
Yeah.
that means there's more things that couldn't happen that
But
can happen.
someone could
Come
run
in
in
and say that. They could say that, but
Richard,
then they go,
you're now Prime Minister.
Then they go, oh, no, sorry, I'm not. I've got no authority to say
Someone
that.
just shout it out, just as a test.
Great,
There we go.
fuck this.
There we go. Do I have to kneel before you or anything like that?
Yes, please. Well, that was how you got the gig. So it's... I'm over 50 now, I'm not fussy. It's fine.
I'm only 15, Richard.
That is inappropriate.
Sorry.
Well, it's a very interesting and intellectual podcast, which I was not expecting from someone who looked like you.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
maybe that says
You've made
more
that
about,
point now a couple of times.
Maybe that says more about me. No, I'm joking. Well, let's talk about backgammon, because actually I'm a patron of Scope, and you're doing an event for Scope.
Are you going to come and play in the backgammon
I don't
tournament?
think I am, because I think you're pretty good at backgammon, aren't you? I used to play against my 15-year-old nephew and win money off him.
Oh, that's nice.
He didn't understand how backgammon worked, but I don't think I could play. You play like in tournaments.
I'm a very keen backgammon player. I'm not amazing, but I have played I did go and play in an international tournament in Copenhagen, which I've got
home of backgammon. That's where it
happened.
invented.
Also nice. I mean, I don't know how many people are in, but one person sort of went, ooh. Which actually is a better reaction than backgammon normally gets. I love it. And yes, I am. I think I'm sort of hosting a charity backgammon tournament, and then playing in it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of win-win for me.
It is. That's pretty good.
Yeah, you should go play.
I can come down and have a crack.
Come down and have a go.
A couple of years ago, I was a prize at that event that someone got to come and have lunch with me.
Really?
me and my wife, yeah. Did
they have to bid on it?
They had to bid on it, yeah.
How much did you go for?
I'm not sure. It was quite a nice lunch. I'm not sure they made enough to cover unless the lunch was given for free. I mean, I thought it was. I said I'd allow that to happen, but I was dubious. But the people seemed happy to have lunch with me. Maybe they just wanted a lunch.
I'd be very anxious in a scenario like that. That people.
What if you were coming to have lunch with me?
Yeah, very, very anxious. Yeah, thinking I shouldn't have bid £40 for this. I went in too high.
It is a weird thing to put yourself up like that, but thank you for Sporting Scope, who are a fantastic charity you should all support.
Yeah.
But don't let it build anymore.
Yeah, but
there's some people round the back. The rest going, no, don't like disabled people. I'm not applauding that. I'm not applauding that.
But much more popular than backgammon.
It is.
So.
What's the best tactic in backgammon? What's your winning strategy in case I come up against you?
Yeah, do I want to give this away? No, I will give it away. It's fine. I think you need to be a bit more attacking at the start than you think, and you really don't mind leaving yourself vulnerable at the start of the game.
Yeah.
And when I first was playing backgammon, I'd always try and keep my pieces safe, particularly towards your home. No need. Absolutely no need.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
just go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
And do you play that if you roll a double at the start, you double the cube doubles straight away, or do you not play that rule?
Why?
Is that in a rule? Well, you know that there's the doubling dice, isn't it?
Yeah,
if
you throw a double to start, then it goes to 2, and then if you do another, I played with my friend Andrew Mackay. He got 17 quid off me because he won. I won all the games, but he won the one that it was 18 because we'd thrown doubles.
But I like that.
Yeah,
should do that.
Yeah, try that.
I will do that. Thank you very much, Richard.
Good. Let's have a look. What else? You got married in Kew Gardens. That's exciting.
Yeah, I did get married in Kew Gardens.
Did you rent out the whole of Kew Gardens for your wedding, or was there people looking around Kew Gardens while you were getting married?
There was a sort of half-hour crossover which was not perfect.
Yeah.
When there were a lot of people milling around whilst our guests were arriving.
Right. And then the whole thing was yours, like in the evening, was it?
Yeah, so from sort of like 5, but it just shut. So, you know.
But fuck, Kew Garden, do anything you want.
Yeah.
Well, have a wank in the cactuses.
What all of my... We got we rented a Kew Explorer.
Yeah.
The little train
Yes.
that goes around.
Yeah.
And immediately after the ceremony, so there's a couple of them, and all of the guests piled on.
Brilliant.
And with their drinks, and they had a nice tour around Kew Gardens.
That is good.
And I think there was some quite poor behaviour. People, just like people a bit drunk and a bit excited and kind of like pulling off rhododendrons.
Oh, really?
And then the Kew Gardens employees saying, "Well, obviously don't do that."
Did you get billed
really
for vandalism?
We certainly got billed. I'll tell you that. I couldn't even bear to look at the itemising.
I would just go and play in that. There's that kids bit. Well, you won't know because you haven't got kids, but there's a kids bit.
Oh, I know it.
And there's a pool just full of little orange beads you can jump into.
Full of orange beads?
It's like a sand pit, but it's got little orange beads in it. Do you know what I'm talking?
Like a miniaturised ball pool.
Yeah, but they're more like bits of plastic, but it's like a sand pit, but made out of plastic.
And do I sink into it, or am I?
Well, it's always full of children, so I reckon if you just had that yourself, I think if there were no kids in there and it was full. I did a thing in it, and as it occurs to me about it, because all the beads come out because the kids chuck them out, and then there's a man whose job is to brush them all back in again.
But at least he's got a brush. He's not like doing it one by one.
But
who would do something that stupid?
He is the most grumpy-looking. He's the most grumpy-looking man in the world.
A field full of tiny orange balls.
It's exciting. You've piqued my interest in it now. I'm going to ask. Someone cackled then. Good to have the witches in. Just have to actual cackle. Right, I'm going to try and find one I haven't asked before.
Do you like your laugh?
My laugh? No, I don't really like my voice or my laugh. I wouldn't listen to this podcast.
Yeah, it's tough. I think your own laugh is not yours specifically, but just one's own laugh.
Well, you don't.
I'm not directing that at the cackler.
Yeah,
but,
that hurt.
But obviously, have a think about it.
I'm going to ask you... this is an interesting question from the first line. It's a long one. Mm-hmm. If you had to have the head of another human being grafted onto your shoulders in order to save space and resources, whose head would you be okay with having placed next to yours? Would it be better or worse if it was your partner's? How much money would you have to be paid to go along with the arrangement? What if it was your head that was going to be put on someone else's body? Have a good think about it. It wouldn't all be bad.
Yeah. How long do I get to think about it?
As long as you want, as long as it takes.
So, when you started the question, I thought it was that my head was getting lopped off and then replaced with another head.
No, it's another head added onto your shoulder, like Zaphod Beeblebrox, I guess I'm thinking of.
Yeah, sure.
But it's not your head. It's not a clone of you. It's a different person's head.
So different head. I think I'm immediately ruling out my wife, and not in a bad way, but I think that sort of you can't really kiss. You can't do any of the fun stuff.
Well, you can't have sex because...
she hasn't got a body anymore. Yeah. I think I much prefer... I'm a traditionalist. I prefer my wife having a body.
Okay.
So she's out. Like realistically, I might have Dr. Michael Brooks grafted on here. For great brain on him. Also, we spend a lot of time together because of the podcast, and I think it would just be quite convenient. He, I think, would consider it to be... He won't mind me saying this. He's out of shape, and he would consider it to be an upgrade. I think everyone would be a winner.
Yeah,
it's an upgrade for him.
Would you give him control of one of the arms, one half of the body?
That's up for negotiation, isn't it? Really. I think I'd want to. He can have one hand, maybe. Yeah. You don't want to give him too much, do you?
Well, but then he could touch you and stuff, though.
Yeah, but it would feel like someone else was doing it. But also Brooksy, which is not so great. Yeah, I know who it was. There's some really horrible stuff that people have done in the past. I mean, that's just a general thing. So it's really awful. Yeah, you really delve into history. Yeah. Bloody horrible. But people were quite interested in head transplants, and they still are. And head transplants, of course, should be called body transplants because, it's mad, but whatever, that's just a personal bugbear. Because you don't wake up and think, oh, I've got a new head.
No, it's true.
Obviously. That's insane. But there was some Russian
I'm glad we got that out there. A lot of people not ready to accept that.
Well, it's true, though.
You are correct.
So this Russian scientist, a group of scientists, were grafting dogs' heads onto other dogs' bodies, and they were able to make them survive. Yeah. And so you've just got two heads of exactly the situation you're talking about, and the dogs will independently feed. And you can have a look on YouTube at some of the footage, and it's like I say, it's absolutely horrible, but relevant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be that kind of thing, wouldn't it?
So bad or good? Were the dogs happy with it?
I wouldn't. I don't. You could see a sort of sadness in a dog's eyes, I think.
Yeah.
Must be a bit weird. They didn't have massive longevity either.
No. What about your head being put on someone else's body?
I don't like that.
Okay.
Very much at all, actually.
No.
Would you take it?
I'd take your head on my body. No.
No? What about just for a bit?
No, you've got a really big head. It would be difficult.
I've got a big head.
It would be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I've already hurt my arm anyway, so,
What, go on the other shoulder? I'm not an animal.
What if I hurt that arm? It's a good question, wasn't it?
It is a good question,
good question. Yeah. What is the most surprising thing you've ever found in a tumble dryer?
Did you know what? Maybe I haven't really lived, but the most surprising thing I've ever found is and it's not that surprising, it's just like the fragments of tissue.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Yeah.
And then sometimes my mum would, I don't know if they do these anymore, like those kind of tumble dryer sheets.
Yeah.
And sometimes they would end up sort of lodged in your trousers, and so you'd be wearing them for a day without realising.
See, but suddenly you thought the question had no answer, and then you pulled that out of the bag.
But is it surprising? I don't know.
It would be surprising me because my mum didn't put those in the tumble dryer. We didn't have a tumble dryer, so I'd have been
amazed that you were allowed to look in someone else's tumble dryer.
I'd be amazed that they found something unexpected in the tumble dryer we didn't have.
Loads of other people's clothes.
I found my cat Smithers in ours doing a wee.
Really?
Yeah. He used to get in there and do wees because it was just like a little enclosed... He didn't really understand. It was a bit like a litter tray, isn't it?
Yeah.
A very expensive
litter in the bottom of it?
No. It was quite annoying because then you've got cat wee in your tumble dryer, which is probably the last thing you want in there. Maybe not the last thing.
No, I'll tell you what you want. You want to get some of those little sheets, and that'll take the edge off.
Don't know if it can cope with those. I'll do one more, and then let's go classic, which is probably in the first 100. I'll ask you this, because you're a man of science. Have you ever seen a ghost?
Well, sort of yes and no. In that, when I was how old was I when Ghostbusters came out? Ghostbusters came out in 1984, 85?
Yeah, I'd say 84.
Something like that. I think I saw it on video so I was maybe 7 or 8, and I just watched it, and the opening scene with the library ghost had obviously scarred me horrendously, because it is genuinely scary. You're familiar with the ghost I'm talking about?
I am very familiar.
And I was at my nan's, and so we're going up the stairs in the block of flats, and I would always run up to because she was at the top. I'd run up to the top to get to the door first, and I got up there and was absolutely convinced that I saw that ghost and ran back down again, screaming.
Yeah.
But much as it felt like I had, looking back, I can see why I thought that. It's because I'd just seen the film.
Yeah.
So
and the actor who played that role lived in that block of flats.
Yeah, it was
just coming and putting a milk.
I should have said sorry. It was my nan. So yeah, it was quite a funny prank from her.
I've seen 3 ghosts since I've moved. I've got a ghost in my house. It's a crying baby.
Yeah. Okay.
When I go into the kids' rooms, they're all asleep and the baby's been crying. It's spooky. And when I take the dog for a walk at night, you see loads of ghosts out in the countryside. And then you work out what they are. One of them was a horse. But it's sort of coming at you, and you think it's a person out in the dark, and then it comes to you, and then you go, fuck, it's a horse.
A ghost of a horse?
No, I think it was a real horse.
Just a horse. Okay, fine.
Which is, in a way, worse than a ghost.
Yeah,
because a horse can trample you to death.
Yeah.
Whereas a ghost does not exist.
Ghost will just sort of slime you, won't it?
And then,
If anything.
yeah, it's true. God, in Ghostbusters, you seem to think that's the main source of ghosts.
Well, is it not?
No. And I was walking the dog the other day, and we came through a farm bit, and a light goes on as you go through the farm, otherwise it's dark.
Yeah.
And then it flashed, and I saw a milkmaid, an old-fashioned milkmaid standing near the farm. But then it was just a sign with a piece of paper on it that I'd misinterpreted. And then I went a bit further, and there was like a black wraith-like figure moving around. I could see it moving, and then it sort of started sweeping in towards me. It was terrifying. Then I realised it was just my shadow from the light behind. That's it. I was moving, so it was moving.
Yeah.
I think ghosts are just people misinterpreting stuff they don't understand, and they're a bit scared.
I think you might be right.
I think in all those 3 examples, I think we've hit on something there.
You've sort of proven it, haven't you?
Yeah, it's good. So T4.
Yeah.
This is your first...
Elephant in the room. Lot of fans in.
I used to love T4.
I mean, very good job.
Yeah.
It's a great job.
And you got to travel the world, meet lots of stars.
Yes.
Interview people.
Yes.
Amazing.
All of that.
How did you get into... Was that your first big job, or was there...
Yeah, pretty much. So I did a sort of graduate trainee scheme at a production company because when I left university, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life at all, and so I did some tutoring, and so I was teaching maths and science to kids who weren't very good at it, and generally speaking, kids whose parents were very wealthy, because that's why tutoring is quite bad in some senses. But they obviously they feel guilty that the school fees they're already paying aren't quite enough, and so they pay a goon like me to come and do a bit more. And I ended up purely randomly, obviously, tutoring Ruby Wax's kids. Wow. One of whom was called Max. But annoyingly took the dad's name By, so he's Max By, which I always thought, come on, mate.
But then
it's an open goal.
At least when he's dead, it'll be Max By's grave. So at least we'll get something out of it, right?
Yeah.
Max Bygrave is he's a singer in the old. He was a singer in the old days.
Don't mind me, I'm just going to down my Ghanaian spice after that.
He was a singer in the old days, Max Bygrave.
No, you're right. And weirdly, that never occurred to me at the time.
That would have been the first thing I would have said to him.
So anyway, I'd occasionally chat to Ruby Wax at her kitchen table after I'd taught Max by Graves, and he and she just sort of said, "What are you doing with your life?" I said, "I've got no idea." She said, "What do you want to do with your life?" I said, "Maybe telly or something." And she said, "Have you applied for any graduate trainee schemes?" And I said, "No, I didn't know they existed." She said, "I do. You should apply for this one." And so I applied and did that.
It's not a ringing endorsement of your tutoring skills.
No, I had...
What would you rather be doing than this? Because I think I've got a good job for you if you could just leave my son alone.
Yeah, I had almost sort of zero initiative as well. Like, I don't know why I hadn't looked anything up. Yeah. So I did that, and then the production company that I was working for as a sort of, I'm effectively like a junior researcher, had not booked anyone to do warm-up for a studio show.
Right.
And they knew that I had done or did a bit of stand-up, and they said, "Okay, you're gonna do that then."
Right.
And so I did that, and it's quite hard actually warm-up, because you have to do sort of 45 minutes of sort of like nothing really. Like, they don't want to hear jokes particularly; they want to just sort of play games and have a chat.
Yeah.
But it was kind of, I quite enjoyed it, and the production company thought that I was okay at it, and then they sort of got me to screen test for some stuff, and so I started doing things off the back of that.
Just blind chance.
Yes, blind chance. Yeah, and I've just been sort of clinging on ever since.
So what was your period of T4? Who were you pitted against?
I was pitted with so Steve Jones, Makita Oliver, Alexa Chung, and then latterly Jamila Jamil, Nick Grimshaw. I think that's everyone.
I once sat next to Nick Grimshaw in Wagamama's.
Did you?
Yeah.
What was he ordering?
I can't remember what he had, but he'd bought a lampshade in Habitat.
Oh yeah.
And he left it behind.
Oh,
and I thought,
guess where it is.
Very nearly, we were going to go, should we give it in or should we take it? Then Nick Grimshaw, about 20 minutes later, came back and realised he'd left his lampshade behind.
Oh.
Why Nick? Oh, Grimmy, eh?
What might have been.
a nice lampshade.
I have the kind of level of, I don't even know call it fame really. Like, people really do not know who I am, but they are vaguely sort of familiar with my face, but not enough to be able to identify me clearly. And so when people do like half recognise me, they'll often just insist that I am Nick Grimshaw or Greg James, or my favourite, Rick James. A sort of clever amalgamation and ending up at someone who I'm definitely not.
Okay.
But really, and also I don't look like any of those people, and yet we are sort of just vaguely in the same area, so you kind of do.
No, it happens. When I was Googling you, I twice actually accidentally Googled Rick Adams.
Yeah, there you go.
Who was the presenter on the Big Breakfast. Years ago.
It can happen.
Yeah, me and Stu stole Rick Adams. I've still got it. His nameplate when we were on Big Breakfast. We stole his nameplate off the door.
It's a hell of a souvenir.
We reasoned it was coming down soon enough anyway, and we were right.
Yeah.
It was a bit loose, to be fair. And I've still got it somewhere.
Do you know what? Did he do anything particularly after that?
I think he still is working, but as a DJ, an online DJ, I think.
I suspect he'd really like to have that nameplate as a reminder of his time on that show.
Yeah.
So you've done a bad thing there.
He's not.
You really have.
It was definitely a bad thing to do. I'm not defending myself.
But you're also not handing it in, are you?
No, I'm not giving it back. Oh, it's in a box somewhere. I'm not going to go through it for him. Hey, look, today, and I can't believe I haven't seen this before, this shows how much my life has changed, because I used to just watch daytime quizzes all day long when I didn't have any responsibilities in my life. When I was free and single, I mainly watched daytime quizzes.
Before your life was ruined.
That's what you do, right? Before my wife came along and gave me stuff to care about. And I watched Impossible. Well, it's not called Impossible. It's upside down exclamation mark impossible.
Which means it's impossible to find on the EPG or on the iPlayer, and yet we're still sticking with it. Great plan. Make it hard to find.
It is good.
Make it cult.
How many series have you done?
We've done. This is the fifth.
Yeah.
This is the fifth one. We're doing the sixth in January. It's rolling on.
I like it. I don't think it should be on daytime TV. I know the celebrity version is on at nighttime TV.
Yes.
But I think it's too good for daytime TV.
Thank you.
I say that
very much
with the deepest respect for Tipping Point. I mean, you're no Ben Shepherd. I don't think you could. If you
Ben Shepherd also started on T4.
If you were called upon to watch a big coin machine go back and forth day after day and make that interesting, I don't think you could do it, and that's why Ben Shepherd has my respect.
I know some people who work on that show, and they say he's quite something to watch at work, because he's recording 4 of those episodes a day, and he just gets into his zone and he makes it. He does make it.
And he also has the audacity to continually ask, what do you think's going to happen? To a random thing.
Yeah.
And that is why you will never be Ben Shepherd, so stop trying. Just be happy with who you are.
I think I'd ask it, I don't know, 10 or 15 times, and then I'd be done. It doesn't, you don't know. You do not know.
You'll just have to make do with having a better actual quiz than him.
Yeah, which I'm happy to have.
Okay, that's fine.
But then, part of if you think about what Noel Edmonds, who is he? Do we like him anymore? I suppose we don't really like him anymore, do we?
No, I think when he had that cancer machine,
that machine for me, I thought, come on, Noel.
And then get in touch with someone who's on Twitter. I think it was Vaughan, who I know on Twitter, who has cancer. And telling him, they had an argument about whether this was a good thing, and he was telling a cancer sufferer what he should be doing.
Yeah.
That was the moment, I think, Noel Edmonds
It's
lost it.
fiddly at best, isn't it, from Noel?
And the moment Noel Edmonds decided to dye his beard jet black.
I've got no problem with that. But he, on Deal or No Deal, the whole thing is nonsense in it. Like, you don't need to ask any of the questions he asks. There is no drama. There's a very simple bit of maths that tells you whether you should or shouldn't accept what's being offered. But he managed to generate a lot of interest and intrigue.
I didn't like the way that he told people they'd lost if they didn't get as much as what was in the final box. Because that's crazy. Because if you're offered £32,000 at some point and you go, I have to take that offer. You can't then go, it was 1p or 125,000. Oh, you should have stayed in. That's ridiculous. So I've lost. I wanted to do a late night version of Deal No Deal, which was just like poker commentary over the top of it, with just a mathematician going, no, that number hasn't actually come up any more often than anything others, so etc. But they wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me do it because it was theirs.
Yet.
But it's a great idea, I think. So it's a quiz. It's that multiple choice thing. Which see again on Egghead. I hate Eggheads. They give you a multiple choice, and it means the eggheads can guess which one it's going to be. But in this one, it sort of flips it. So there's one question, one answer is definitely wrong or impossible.
Yes.
But we had a little debate about that backstage, that some people say it's not impossible. Because if there's infinite universes, there's a universe where the answer is possible.
Yeah, I mean, then it gets very confusing. I'm glad that we're only doing it in this universe, as far as I'm aware.
Well, you're very wrong about that.
I am wrong about that. I know. I'm doing it all over the show.
I'm fucking presenting it in only one universe.
You are.
Let me do it.
You are. And there's someone was saying to me that it would be, and I think they're sort of right. It would be harder to again put on the EPG and the listings. But if it was called "fucking stupid" in one of the answers, if you go for that, you are fucking stupid. Like that's the gist of the quiz. Is come on. And I mean, it's a good catchphrase to have. Are you fucking stupid? Let's find out. Yeah, you are. Yeah.
And so no one won the jackpot on the one I've seen. I've only seen one episode. I'm going to become a regular fan. I'm going to watch it. If they win, all those pound coins
all the pound coins come out, and it's fair. I mean, it's so
awesome.
it's so sort of end of the pier, but in a good way.
But it's like £10,000.
£10,000 just flooding out of this huge exclamation mark.
And then do you make them take it home in pound coins? Because I think you should.
Yeah, we give them the little plastic bags from banks and say, go on then, you earned it. But we had I think, was it last week maybe, where 4 consecutive people won the £10,000.
Oh, really?
And obviously from a show point of view, it's great, and from an audience point of view, the audience really like that, and from the point of view of the people who make it, it's an absolute disaster because they have you get allocated a budget by the BBC, and they think, we think this will cover how much prize money will go, and if that isn't the case, then the production company just have to pay.
Yeah.
It's pretty harsh.
What about the bloke who has to put all the pounds back in the machine?
Well, genuinely, there is a guy called Webbo, and Webbo goes up onto the top of a massive ladder, and then he just feeds the pound coins back in. And there's a huge reset. It makes the day much slower. I hate it. I'm like, oh, they've won. Oh, no. I've got to give you a hug, but I'm fuming.
I'd say just get rid of the thing. Just give them the check. They'll be happy.
Yeah, but then that's the thing that sells the show.
It's not. It's a classy quiz. You don't need a fruit machine at the end of it.
Okay, we're going to get rid of it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. And then actually, the real boon of that is if we don't have the massive exclamation mark, we can finally call it impossible. And people will be able to find it. Yeah, good. Okay, it's gone.
Why don't we do one based on like one of those grab machines in the fair?
They've been pitched apparently.
Have they?
Yeah, of course they have.
Why don't we do one based? There's everything in it. Why don't we do one based on the horses racing around? Oh, that's probably been done, isn't it?
Yeah, there's one at the moment I think which is based on no, it can't be based on Sega Rally. I want to say it's based on Sega Rally, but that can't be right. Like driving around, so there's a sort of car race while you're being quizzed.
Okay.
I think that's in production. I quite like the sound of it.
Yeah.
Maybe dangerous, but, you know.
Why don't you do one based on Bailey's Comets, the cartoon that was out before you were born that you won't remember?
When
and
was
that
it
no
out?
one will remember. Bailey's Comets was good, wasn't it? Who remembers Bailey's Comets? I might have found my one person remembering something that I remember. It was about... I'll sing you the theme tune.
No, you don't have to.
No, I'll get it. See if I can remember it.
Okay.
All I can remember is everyone's out to find the next big clue that's going to lead into the $1 million prize. Bailey's Comets, Bailey's Comets, Bailey's Comets. Ba-ba!
Immediately, my issue with it is that we'd have to change the words because you can't have $1 million prize. That's no good.
They were skating round and then they were trying to get $1 million prize.
Right.
They never, because they cancelled it before we found out who won.
So hang on,
It's a bit like Wacky Races, but on...
was it live action?
No, it was cartoons.
Right.
People roller skating around. No one
Right.
remember that? This is why Peter Kay does all right in it, and this is why I'm not...
Yeah, because
Why can't anyone remember Bailey's Comets? It was really good. I used to eat minstrels while I was watching it.
Oh, hang on,
Yeah, they
got
know
it.
minstrels.
Yeah.
Sometimes aniseed balls. Remember them, mate? Yeah.
Do more
Wait, Bailey's
stuff.
Comets. Do you remember Bailey's Comets, though?
No.
Who remembers Bailey's Comets? Who remembers Bailey's Comets? We're not going on until everyone has remembered it. Do you remember it, David, Bailey's Comets? Everyone's at... Sorry, over there. Everyone's at to buy the next week. There. It's like Wacky Races. Remember Wacky Races, David? Yeah, obviously.
Quite a sort of bullying section of the show, this, isn't it? Yeah.
It's this,
I don't mind it.
It's this dark Bailey's. Do you have? Because I've got. Do you have any catchphrase that you use quite a lot in your life that came from something? But you, I use a catchphrase all the time from an advert. I can't remember what the advert was for.
Oh, Chicken Tonight. You always say it's time for Chicken Tonight. Chicken Tonight.
Yeah, and I don't know what advert that was for.
Yeah, it was for Chicken Tonight. Yeah.
I always do.
And same.
When I get into a car, I say, "Let's get this road on the show." Do you remember what advert that was?
No.
Before your time, I think. Do you remember that one, David? Who remembers
It was on
the
just
advert?
before
Who
Bailey's
remembers the
Comets.
advert? Let's get the road on the show. It was set in a helicopter, traffic helicopter. So the joke was, let's get this road on the show. Because they were traffic helicopters.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it was an advert for helicopters. I don't think it was an advert for
Don't really get
travel
advertised,
shows.
do they?
They don't generally, do they?
No, they sell themselves.
Anyway, if anyone knows, let's get this road on the show. Don't tell me, because I'd like the mystery. Getting quite angry with the audience. Let's get this
road on the show.
I know, get in the car and go, let's get this road on the show.
What kind of response do you get from it?
Nothing. I'd really just say it to myself.
Yeah,
it's when I'm in the car on my own. Let's get this road on the show. This is me, then I'm driving.
I guess I'd say let's...
This is how I drive.
Let's get ready to rumble, maybe? Do I say that?
Everyone remembers that. That's not
an advert.
I know, but everyone remembers where that comes from.
But
Chicken tonight and let's get ready to rumble. Everyone remembers that. No one remembers.
You've got a niche one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like to think observational nostalgia comedy that only me and one other person gets. And that one person is not in the audience tonight.
Whereas, Peter Kay's thing is your aunt dances funny at weddings.
Yeah.
And people get that, don't they?
Who remembers 9/11? Everyone.
Yeah.
That's how Peter Kay works.
So I had
Who remember Brexit? Remember when we all voted for Brexit? Remember how it all went fucked up and went wrong? This is people in 3 years' time listening to this podcast.
Oh.
Remember how it all went shit? And you got one. What is it?
Fried onion rings.
Yeah, everyone remembers fried onion rings. That was the chips. Hope it's chips. It's chips. McCain's oven chips. That was.
Hang on. She's still going. Let her finish.
It was also fried onion rings. That's how it went. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that was right. That is the correct way of doing it.
When I was doing stand-up many years ago, I had a misjudged joke, which I think I only did once. And is it? Yeah, I'll say it, and then we'll
chat about
backstage about whether this will go onto a podcast. Okay. But I said, and I'm only bringing this up because you said, "Who remembers 9/11?" And I said, so, I can't remember the exact wording of it. It's like the lights off. Of course, 9/11. Really, one of the forgotten victims were Porsche. Which I think was sort of...
I get it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But went worse even than that.
Yeah.
Never did it again.
Yeah. No, don't do that.
But you see, it's sort of... Like, there's something in it. I still think there's something in it.
My fans wouldn't know what that was that you're talking about. That's the thing. These guys... It's what? It's brilliant. It's a good joke. That bloke.
Well, you could have laughed, mate.
That guy's trying to make out he has a Porsche. That's why. Yeah, I get it. It's great. I've got a Porsche, everyone. I've got a Porsche. What kind of stand-up were you? How long did you do stand-up for?
I did it when I was at university for a bit, and then I did it for a little while on the London circuit, and I was fine.
Yeah.
I was fine. I wasn't. I was.
What year was this? When were you in London?
2002, 2003.
Okay, because I came back to doing stand-up in about 2004, so I missed you.
Yeah, you weren't missing much, actually. I did do one thing that I think was quite good. I did a double act with, do you know Joe Wilkinson?
I do, yeah.
So we were doing stand-up at the same time, and we liked each other's shtick. And so we did a double act called Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
And that was quite fun.
Yeah, cool.
That was about the highlight. But also, I effectively stopped because I was friends with him, and he was better than me, and I was friends with Diane Morgan,
yes,
who was also better than me, and I thought, well, let's try and find something that...
Why don't we let them be a double act? Why don't them be
a
double act?
And that's exactly what happened.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, 2 episodes of MASH.
Yeah.
Great double act.
Very good show, very good show. Yeah. Could have been you in there, could have been 2 episodes of
No,
MASH
unfortunately
and another bloke.
not. No. That never looked like it was on the cards.
So who was the toughest interview you had on T4? Did you?
Well, there was. Sometimes you just misjudge things. I mean, you know,
I know all about that.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And so I misjudge. I think this is excellent question. I asked Jake Gyllenhaal quite early on in an interview, and that was the mistake. He'd really save it to the end just in case. I said, okay, so here's a conundrum for you, Jake. I'm going to cast you in an amazing film, the role that you were born to play. It's going to be the peak of your career, the thing you're going to get lauded for. You're going to win the Best Actor Oscar. Like, this really is the absolute pinnacle. It's the role that you were born to play. The only catch is I've already cast your sister Maggie as the love interest. Do you take the role? I think that's a good question. He did not think it was a good question. He hated it. And then I had to do another 10 minutes of just a man who was fuming.
Imagine I'm doing now with someone like that.
Yeah. So that was not good. But I think my wife is an actress, and I don't like it when she has to kiss people for her work, which I think is perfectly reasonable. But actors always say it's just a mechanical thing. It doesn't mean anything, which is sort of my point to Gyllenhaal. If it is just a mechanical thing, it doesn't mean anything. Snog your sister, mate. If you're just acting, stop whinging. He didn't see it like that at all.
And is this true? This is what I wanted to start with this and make this the whole interview. If it's true, it's on your Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Do you have no sense of smell? Is that true?
No, I have a very, very poor sense of smell.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not as exciting as having no sense of smell.
I kind of had to modify this. I think I used to say I had no sense of smell, and then I met people who have anosmia, which is actually having no sense of smell, and it's quite sort of a debilitating condition, or it can be, and I don't have that. Okay. I can't just go around saying, yeah, that's me. I sniffed pure ammonia when I was about 14, and it really sort of damaged the cells inside them.
Why did you do that?
An idiot, firstly. And secondly, I wasn't listening in the science lesson. They were talking about ammonium smelling salts, and I had a cold, and I thought, oh, great, and grabbed the lab ammonia and just went, and it was really extraordinary pain. It's absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah.
And very hard with, interestingly, this is unlikely to happen, but if someone were to say to you, would you rather have the strongest alkali or the strongest acid poured on your hand or wherever, go acid, because you can wash acid off quite easily with water, and alkali less so.
Especially if it's up your nose.
And if it's up your nose, really, really tough.
Yeah.
But that's all I was doing. I just kind of sluiced water up it. And
Did it
didn't really
cure your cold? Was your cold better afterwards?
I've got to say, the cold gave me no concern. And it certainly did something.
Well, I thought you had no sense of smell, so I've been farting all through the interview, and I'd like to apologise.
Do you know what? I wouldn't have noticed.
Right.
Because it's not good.
Okay.
I don't get ambient
You'd have
odour.
noticed mine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Fancy yourself, do you? I think you're packing some heat down there.
Why don't we... what about a game show where people try and make you smell their farts? By creating the worst farts they can. And if you can smell them, then they win a prize.
Yeah, and it's like...
they win like
a distance thing. So I gradually approach. And the earlier it hits me, the more impressive. Yeah, the more money you win.
Can you
Well,
taste...
it's worth pitching, isn't it?
It is. I'll give it a go. Can you taste things?
Of course I can fucking taste.
What?
People always ask that. I didn't have my tongue cut out.
Can you feel love?
No, but that's unrelated.
I thought to taste a lot of taste from smell.
Well, people tell me that, but I mean, I can tell you that I can taste stuff.
Well, maybe you can't, maybe you think you can, but things taste nice.
I mean, effectively, we all think we can. That's all that's happening. You know I can taste. I was repulsed by the Ghanaian spice.
That's what makes me suspect the whole smell thing is made up for attention. Just to get a bit of an interest on Wikipedia.
I mean, people do love that. Really, you get to see regular visitors just checking that fact out.
Are you glad, in hindsight, because it gives you...
Well, it's done sort of 3 or 4 minutes here, isn't it? Yeah, so I suppose I am pleased, yeah.
What did your mum and dad say when you came home and said, I've lost my sense of smell due to sniffing ammonia?
Well, just sort of nonplussed, really. Just like, well, why? Why have you done that? I think generally my parents were sort of nonplussed.
Really? Because my fear with, when you got kids, you suddenly think, God, if I fuck something up, that's, for life. My daughter keeps poking herself in the eye, and you go, your eyes can't be repaired if you break your eye. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
My son has testicles.
Is that how you deliver the information to him?
Yes, stop being such a fucking idiot. You have to tell him. You just think if I accidentally tread on my son's testicles,
Yeah.
then
How, just out of interest, how low hanging?
they drape back and he's crawling along.
Oh, that's
They're
nice.
draping a long way back.
Yeah. Like he's getting married. And, it's the train, and it just happens to be his scrotum.
So do you think by the time you're 13 or 14, parents just go, he's just his sense of smell?
Yeah, they're just like, well, it's not the word. I mean, let's be honest. If you had to lose a sense, smell's the one that's going first, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. If I'm still allowed to taste things, which apparently I am.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
I don't believe that for a second.
It's absolutely
Have
true.
you got brothers and sisters?
No.
No.
Only child.
Oh.
Hence, sort of attention-seeking narcissist.
You can be sure.
Hence, TV presenter.
Yeah, you can be sure your parents love you the best. That's the nice thing about being the only child.
Yeah. Absolutely
good.
no competition.
Yeah, that's good.
What have you got?
I've got a brother and a
Sibling-wise?
sister.
And where do you fit in the ranking?
I reckon I come second.
Yeah? Who's top?
My sister, I think. Everyone loves my sister.
Yeah.
And no offence to my brother, but come on.
Yeah. What's he do with himself?
He's a teaching assistant. He's very, very, like, super intelligent.
Yeah.
Like, too intelligent.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to come back in 500 years' time, and then people will be on a level.
Respect him.
Yeah, they respect him now. He was a great brother, apart from when he beat me up and stuff.
Yeah. Also, when you say he was a great brother, sort of sounds bleaker than that.
Oh, he still is. He still is a
good.
good brother as well. But we don't hang out with each other so much now. Like when you're at home, you won't know what this is like because you're a sad only child.
Yeah. Lonely. Yeah.
But my brothers,
no friends when I did maths. No brothers and sisters.
But look at
It's
you now.
heartbreaking, isn't it?
Look at you now.
Here we are.
You're on this. You've been on T4.
Yeah.
With the one off The Good Place.
Yes.
Pretty good. You met Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
And offended him.
Yep.
It's pretty good. It's
Yes,
pretty good.
Things
It's
have
a
actually
sweet life.
worked out. Yeah.
It's a sweet life. On your Twitter profile, it says you trick or treated at Mariah's house. Is that true?
No. I have been to Mariah Carey's house, weirdly, for work, and then I saw that everyone was changing their Twitter names for Halloween.
Okay.
So I just
You changed your name to that.
Yeah. Mariah Carey. This is a slightly sad anecdote, I suppose.
It's all right, we're at the point
but
we can,
we've earned it, haven't we?
Yeah.
So when I did this thing where I spent sort of 48 hours with Mariah Carey for a TV show, and she had lots of, as you'd expect, she was very nice, but she had lots of foibles, including, my favourite really was she was very tired most of the time. And at one point we were in her hotel room. We arrived at her hotel room to do a bit of the interview, and she was asleep in bed with her husband, which is quite an awkward situation to walk in on. You're going to go, oh, well, we'll leave it for a bit. And then they got her up and got him out, and we sat down, sort of similar setup to this, both on the same sofa. I had to do maybe 10 seconds of, explain to the camera where I am. So just saying, so now I'm in Mariah Carey's hotel room, just about to have a chat about blah, 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 blah. So Mariah, when I looked back over, she was asleep. she had fallen asleep in 10 seconds. But the real rub was that she's surrounded by these people who, her entourage, and no one would ever say anything to upset her, and so they wouldn't let us wake her up. They just said, no, shh, she'll be up in a minute. She'll be up in a minute. So I just sat on a sofa with Mariah Carey while she had a power nap for about 5 minutes, and then she sort of came back to and was like, right, where are we? I was like, well, you just falling asleep in the middle of an interview. and then we carried on. But the thing I was going to say, that's not sad. The sad thing is that she has a good side, but it's so sort of hardwired in her now that she can't, if a camera is on the wrong side, she just can't, she can't hack it at all. And the reason is that Tommy Mottola, who was the horrible man that she married when she was quite young, the record label boss, I think said that she looked too ethnic from the other side, which is really, I mean, it's horrific and also obviously not true because she's basically symmetrical, but whatever, like everyone. And but it had obviously really scarred her, and so we. At one point, we got into the back of her limousine, and there was a sort of so like this, and then camera here, and she got in on the wrong side, but no one wanted to say anything, and so we spent the whole interview. So if you're me, I'm talking like this out of the window, and at no point broke it, apart from occasionally because she was a human, she would come round and then just snap back like that.
Wow.
And it was sort of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Quite funny, but also.
But it's weird the way celebrities like you see these ultra famous people and they kind of get trapped in different ways. I think. It's sort of, and you're trapped by your fame either to behave in a certain way like that, or or to be worried about. Sometimes I get like big name people on here who then come off and go, "Oh, I'm worried about this and this and this and this and this," and what they've said on the podcast, and they're worried. They're thinking about the brand and all those sort of things, and it's sort of weird. You become so successul that actually you lose yourself a little bit within. I mean, you and I are still fine.
We're fine, aren't we?
Yeah.
I think I'm still trying to develop a brand. No, I haven't quite got one yet. Also, should I do another? I think I've got one more. I could do another thing about a famous person that's sort of funny-ish.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, fine. So we're going to interview Sylvester Stallone, and we'd set up in a members club, I think we're filming it in, and we were on the first floor in the sort of snooker room or whatever. And about 20 minutes before Sylvester Stallone was supposed to arrive, his people called up and said, "So where is the interview taking place?" And we were like, "So it's in the address you're coming to." And they were like, "Great, but where exactly?" We said, "Oh, first floor in the snooker room." And they said, "Okay, so how's Sylvester getting up there?" And we were like, "The stairs, or there's a lift?" And they're like, "Lift, yeah, he'll take the lift." And we're like, "Okay, that's fine." And then they said, "Also, Sylvester won't wait for lifts." So we had to send a runner down, and the runner stood by the lift, just calling it. For 15 minutes until eventually Sylvester Stallone, his people arrive and breeze straight into the lift, up they go. And it was very odd, but it immediately made me think, and then you sort of chat to Sylvester Stallone and you think, he's like a nice man. I'm not sure that and then I realised, I don't think he knows that happens. I think he genuinely thinks he's incredibly lucky with lifts. I do. I think it's probably really early in his career, he's been standing with a flunky, waiting for a lift, and he's just sort of hasn't got anything to say. He's just like, well, it's boring waiting for lifts. And they've gone, right, never happening again. And that's just his life. Never, ever waits for lifts.
That's weird. You'd be tempted to put it in the test, though. I would just make him wait, see what happens if the lift isn't there. Does he just try and walk through the closed doors?
I think it wouldn't compute, would it?
What would he just, that would be it? Just,
yeah.
Like the robot would just frazzle away and die. Because he's never had to wait for one.
Yeah, the problem would have been that then we hadn't got the interview. I mean, if we got that on camera, fine, that's a story.
But then you could, say, I killed Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
That'd be something, wouldn't it? That'd be a brand.
Suddenly my brand is developing, yeah. Also, I'd squeeze a book out of that, wouldn't I?
So what's coming up next? Is it more impossible?
Yeah, more impossible.
Very good. I'm not angling to get on the celebrity version.
Do you want to come on, actually?
I love quizzes.
Would you?
Well, it depends how much you pay. There's a lot of people on it. I can't imagine you pay that much.
I think it's... so you'd be filming for 2 days up in Glasgow.
Oh, Glasgow.
It's quite fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you get paid some amount. I don't imagine it's masses. What do you think?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Genuinely, that'd be great.
I have to talk to my wife.
And then you can... you've got to talk to your wife anyway at some point. That's how marriage works.
I guess. You underestimate my skills.
Also, you could redeem yourself after House of Games. I don't know. I don't know what happens. I don't know what happens, but I'm guessing.
I'm up against Rachel Riley. Come on.
True.
I mean, if I beat her, then I'm like a super genius.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So, more of that And then so I wrote a book with Dr. Michael Brooks of Science-ish, and we're writing a follow-up to that currently.
Brilliant.
Which we will be shoving in the old silo, I imagine. So...
Do you want to give away some copies of my old book with it? If you think
I'm happy to. Very happy to. Yeah. A quite eccentric bundle deal. I don't know how they've paired these, but they have.
And happy, Nick. You can have as many of those as you want.
Yeah.
Actually, more of Lord of the Dance Settee. You can have a load of those.
Yeah.
Look, we better. It's been so much fun, but we better let you go.
Oh, can I tell you one more thing?
Yeah, please do.
Up, just because it's not really not a plug per se, but it's just because I find it quite funny.
Yeah.
I did a show for the History Channel where I dive around rivers of the UK looking for historical artifacts.
Oh.
Which is sort of odd in itself, but the really great thing is that I have absolutely no expertise, and so there's a lot of times I'm just pulling stuff up and I just don't know what it is. I'm just throwing it back in.
I was asked to do it.
You must have been asked to do it.
Well, I was asked if I was interested, and I said, yes, I am interested, and I never heard again. So you got the job.
I can't imagine that I was first on the list.
Did you have to actually dive under, or could you just walk? Because I said I wasn't really keen on diving, but I'd be interested in...
just to wait.
Yeah, I'm happy to
paddle
I'll give
at
it
the
a
side.
Go.
that might not have stood in your favour.
Okay. A lot of diving underneath the waves.
Are you a history buff?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would have been way better than me at this.
Yeah.
Like, really, I'm sorry. Well, series 2, maybe.
Was it in August? Did you film it in August?
August, September...
Yeah,
August and September.
I was available.
Yeah.
Was it with an American guy who does
Yeah. I feel now I wish I hadn't brought it up.
No,
it's slightly
I'd forgotten about it, and then you just reminded me.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm going to be back. This is it. I'm going to be back on non-quiz TV.
I absolutely, but you want to be on Quiz TV, right? I would have preferred to watch the show with you doing it.
No.
But not to be. It was me.
Did you find anything good?
I did find and obviously I didn't know what it was, but I subsequently found out Oh, am I they'll hate me saying this, actually.
Yeah. We'll bleep it out. We'll just bleep it out. You tell us here and we'll...
Yeah. I found a
dildo.
Yeah. Tiny. It's absolutely tiny. Like...
I'd love that.
Which was actually...
that's my dream.
Yeah.
Well, very exciting. We'll cut that out.
Yeah, you'd have to...
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Rick Edwards, who's never found any balls. Rick Edwards. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week. Come and see us. This is for after Rick Edward. Calculating. Now let us speak. Hello, that's another one done. It was brilliant, wasn't it? I don't know. We haven't done it yet. I'm recording this beforehand. I'm going to imagine it was great. So thank you for watching. Our sponsors are beer52.com. Go to beer52.com/RHLSTP and you can get those beers if you haven't got them already. Go to richtown.com/gigs to see if I'm bringing a podcast near to you anytime soon. And go to gofasterstrike.com and you can buy Emergency Questions, the book, and also the fantastic DVD/download of Oh Frig, I'm 50. See you next time. It's going to be a good one. I've got a feeling in my waters. How'd you like them sky potatoes?